In Igbo, being a man isn't just about muscle or strength. We call it Igbo, which is deeply rooted in cultural practices, cultural remembrance, and other rules and regulations that an Igbo man must live by tupu ọ bụrụ nwoke. We are going to exploit some of those things that makes a man in Igbo in this video. Join us. One of the first things that a man must know to do in Igbo is Igbo or Igofo, as many other dialects in Igbo would say. It is the staff of truth. It is only truthfully handled by mature men who can hold the Ofo in Igbo. The Ofo is not a property for children, and it's not a property for play. It's a symbol of justice and authority. It is important in the settling of land matters in Igbo, important in family decisions and setting community decisions, and of course in dispute resolution. You must be morally upright, traditionally recognized, to wield the offer of Igbo. Secondly, land matters, which is referred to as imatala in Igbo. In Igboland, a man must know the lands of his fathers. He must know the names of the land. He must make himself familiar with the boundaries of the land. He must know which lands are the ancestral lands of his fathers, and he must know the lands where his ancestors were buried. He must know the difference between what Igbo call Ipa and Ofia. He must know these things because it is paramount to know that land is very sacred in Igbo. It is not just property, it is identity for any Igbo man. Thirdly, Igbo omume, which is also known as the naming of a child, also called the naming ceremony, especially that of a first son. It is also required for the birth of a first child. It is not random that you reflect your heritage as a person, but in Igboland, names represent blessings, names represent lineage, names tell a story in Igbo, especially a first son. Your name reflects your heritage, reflects the circumstances surrounding your birth, including blessings that has been bestowed on the family. The name of a child goes on to tell a story about his lineage. Names like Chukwuemeka, Chukwuebuka, Nnabuife, Ikenna, Obinna, Chukwuemeka, Chukwubike are all names that could tell the story of how this child had come into the world or the expressions of their families when they had been born. But in Igbo, the name of a man goes on to tell the story about his life. Fourthly, I'm sure you know about this one, umunna. You've had some encounters with them, but being present at family meetings, community meetings, and gatherings held by your people, a grown man in Igbo is expected to be a paramount part of his umunna. And not just being a part of the umunna. He must attend meetings. He must be able to be a part of the decision making in the family, like decisions related to land, decisions related to disputes, decisions about how to move the community forward, decisions about how to better the family, and other things that relate to the upliftment of the entire kindred. It is the role of the umunna. A man must attend meetings of his umunna, and he must help to decide on land matters and disputes. This is usually the first start of leadership. If you are usually absent at these meetings, you might be reprimanded and even corrected, even from the younger ones, and you are expected to receive this in good faith as a sign of great leadership, because a good leader must be one to listen, to take advice, and to take corrections when they are being made. Hence, the umunna factor. You remember in Igbo, when people begin to have certain issues in family, in marriages, even at your workplace, and we will say things like, it is important. It means that we are about to go and meet the people who make the decisions in your family. Hence, the umunna. The fifth thing on our list is Ipa Ogu. Let me say it one more time. Ipa Ogu. It means defending your honor. Not every fight is physical, as we say in our Igbo. Some fights are of integrity. Some fights are of honor. Some fights are of spiritual levels. It could be so many things. But you see, men in our Igbo are trained to defend their names and to defend their families through actions, truth, and wisdom. Sometimes it is through traditional oaths, and most times it could even be legal battles. But in truth, an Igbo man is not one who backs out of a fight because he has been raised to face these fights, because it signifies defense for his family. It signifies defense for his truth, for his integrity, for the things that he believes in. Cowardice brings disgrace in our Igbo. Hence, the men of the Igbo race do not gamble the cowardice game. Ụgbọala anaghị eme nwoke, as we say in our Igbo. Cars, certain material things. A man might earn respect by the current standards of things, like owning big cars and owning massive structures and other material things. But in our Igbo, a man earns respect and honor through his responsibility and integrity, and most importantly, through honor. Don't let the modern times fool you. Ụgbọala anaghị eme nwoke. Car or no car, a man in our Igbo earns his respect through responsibility and respect. He earns his integrity and honor. Don't let the modern standards of materialism fool you. In our Igbo, a man's true honor, a man's true wealth is derived and measured through his lands and his words. Land and words, land and the things a man says is what makes an Igbo man. Nsọpụrụ. I am sure that there are so many other names for this behavior or for this attitude in so many other Igboland. Keeping the family secret, that is what nsọpụrụ is. Real men and women in our Igbo are trained to keep the family secret in the secret. Unlike what we have now seen in modern time social media standards, where people can now comfortably discuss intimate family matters on the internet. In our Igbo, these are grave offenses. You do not drag people in public, as it is seen as disrespectful and highly uncultured behavior. You are not allowed to drag people also on social media. Issues and disputes are settled traditionally through kindred meetings and kindred mediations, through family interferences and family interventions. And this tactics helps to protect the family's integrity and unity. A man must be able to provide food, not just for his nuclear family, but also for others, his neighbors, his brothers and sisters, and anyone else who might be in need around him. During meetings, burials, and festivals, your worth is measured by how you support the feast in Igbo culture. It is important that an Igbo man comes out or shows up for events in our Igbo. Nri bundu, as we say in our land. And it means that food is life. Trust me, we have the best delicacies ever seen across Africa. We know, and then we can say it. Finally, as a man, you must learn to speak your language. And it is very important that you, in turn, teach your children how to speak the language. If your children cannot speak your language, you have truly not become an Igbo man. And until that time, you must try to make sure that you continue to pass down the Igbo legacy to your children, that they may continue the beautiful culture of our Igbo. Afam bụ Nneoma. For more information, follow us on Voice of the East across social medias. Please like, subscribe, and share.